So, Chris, you and I have been friends for 30 plus years, and lately, it's what's been just amazing pleasure is working together in business, and it's just amazing privilege we have to work with each other. We love each other, we get each other, and all of those things. But something that emerges with our coaching clients, and when you're giving advice in franchise purchasing, and we're training or we're doing a speech or whatever it is, it seems there's kind of a theme that keeps reoccurring. Yeah. And you and I bat it back and forth. Actually, we're working on a book together right now that kind of talks about finance, freedom, and fulfillment. And I remember a case, I was doing some training in Chicago, and a young project manager asked if he could speak with me after one of the modules. And he basically kept these three things kept occurring. He said, I really want to walk away from corporate, and I want to, but I'm fearful about finance. And secondly, he said, I just want to be free. And thirdly, he said, I really have never found what it is I should be doing for fulfillment. So let's talk about those.
Sure.
Tell me what your thinking is about finance and just that fear that people have out there.
Well, that's interesting. Finance usually comes up first, and not really sure why that is, other than money is just such a hot topic generally, not just today, but forever, right? Yeah. Eternity. So there's a lot of fear about finances. Not so much that I won't have enough to live, but that I won't have enough to live the kind of life that I want to live. So most of the people we talk to, they're asking about money first. How much money can I make? How much money will it cost? What's my risk of losing all my money or making more than I've ever made in my life? So I try to address that first as well. I don't think it's the most important component of life, certainly, but it's such an integral part of survival that it has to be addressed usually on the front end.
Yeah, yes, and it's like when you talk with somebody who is not clear about how much it takes to live because they've been, I won't say trapped, but they've been confined to a salary and benefits at a business for so many years. Yeah. They kind of have this urge to see if they could do it themselves, which leads me to the second part of this, finance and then freedom. The freedom that comes with owning your own business, or the freedom of starting from the ashes a new brand, or in our case, many times in career transition, you and I are trying to maybe steer somebody to a brand that's already proven itself through a franchise brand because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But I know you and I talk about freedom a lot. We're freedom guys. We love freedom. We don't love.
And it means different things to you and me.
Well,
right?
Yeah, and part of it for me it means, and for the last 15 or 16 years, it means I do not have to get up and go to an office. But I know in your case, you love going to an office.
Yeah, right.
I love the freedom of being my own boss. But let's talk about freedom and kind of how that feels and risk that comes with that kind of freedom.
Yeah. So freedom for something or freedom from something, right? Yeah, so in my case, I do want the freedom to kind of do those things that I want to do. And I want to do completely different things a lot of times than you do. And being self-employed gives you that freedom. Do I want to get up today and go to an office, or do I want to get up today and go sit and look at the water and do my work, or go to a Starbucks coffee shop or whatever and do our work? Yeah, that's the kind of freedom I want to. And everybody wants their different kind of freedom. One of the things I do hear a lot, Rick, is that people want freedom from an employer that's a jerk, or a job that has them traveling 80% of the time, or something. They want freedom from that. And they're looking for self-employment to get free.
Yeah, I was thinking about my sweet mother who turns 91 this year. And she obviously hasn't worked in many years, but she's one of the busiest people I've ever been around. She still cuts her yard at 91. And she has the freedom to get up and read a 500-page novel. She reads all the time. She has the freedom to go cut her yard. She has the freedom to watch something on television, but she's busy. And people get mixed up about, okay, am I trapped with finances? Am I trapped to not be free? Which also this topic keeps coming up, like this young man that asked me, and you have had countless people ask you the same question, why am I on the planet?
Right.
Why don't I feel fulfilled in what I'm doing? So let's just bat that around a little bit for our listeners so that they can get a better understanding as coaches and advisors how we look at these three important concepts.
Well, that's interesting because, I don't know if you even know that you were instrumental. You were vital to me finding out what that big umbrella life calling was in my life 17 years ago. You helped me figure that thing out. And in my life, that big umbrella calling is to use what gifts and abilities I have to help other people become successful. So every job I've looked at it as it relates to the big umbrella, right? And self-employment's the same thing. What am I doing today? Those things that align with my calling, because when they do, that fulfillment is quite unbelievable. So I also try to help other people find that as well. And you get to that point by asking some pretty significant questions like, if you could do anything you wanted to do in life without having to worry about money, what would that be? And you can kind of see them, their eyes start rolling back, and they start answering these questions like, well, I've always wanted to own a baseball card shop or something, and baseball cards. You kind of start getting to the passion point.
Yeah, there was my coach many years ago when I was being trained as an executive coach. He said, what is it you would love to do if time, people, and money were no issue?
Nice.
Like no time constraint, you had all the money you needed, and relationships were in such a way that you could go live on a desert island if you wanted to. But fulfillment is almost all of mankind's mission. And that is really that unsettledness that you and I find with our coaching clients is we love asking powerful questions. Mm-hmm. We love asking that question that starts with how. So how would this look if you could do anything today? That how question right there is, you've seen people kind of be just stunned when we ask it. Well, that's what coaches do.
It is. And the more detail they can give us in that answer, the closer they get to that reality.
But psychologically, spiritually, and vocationally, fulfillment is the wind in the sails of everybody. Yeah, right. When you love what you do, it doesn't matter how long you do it.
Right.
And so that's when this thing becomes a really tight package of finance. So what can I make? Well, it's up to you. If you're living in freedom, what can you earn? It takes the ceiling off of salaries. Now, when I jumped out of the plane for the first time, figuratively, from not having a salary, that was a scary, high-risk situation. My wife had to jump out with me. But as we built back freedom and fulfillment, finances came, and honestly, it's just a new way of living, a new way of thinking.
Well, it all came. Freedom came. Fulfillment came.
And finances
came, right.
The reason Chris and I are talking about this, and we could go on and on and on, is that we both feel fulfilled helping clients find these answers. That is literally what we get up in the morning to do. I mean, we are called to it. That's a crazy word, but we believe that word connects us to energy. Psychologically, what happens when you are working in fulfillment, you don't have to try to get motivated. You don't have to try to be optimistic. You don't have to try to be enthusiastic. You are that. Right. When you're fulfilled, that flips this big, gigantic switch of enthusiasm.
No doubt.
And so give us a good word as we close.
Well, I kind of like that question. I've never heard you tell me that question again that you say you like to ask.
Yes. So if time, people, and money were no issue, what would you be doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
All right.